Hello everybody and welcome to the new series called Engines of Go Transit. In this series we will be covering all of Go Transit's power, and we will follow the same format as the last series I did called Engines of Via. Before we get into the new series, I would like to say a few things first. I would like to say that this series is not copying, but is inspired by Amtrak Guy 365's series called Engines of Amtrak, where he covers all of the engines of Amtrak excluding their F unit. Now with that out of the way, I would like to kind of talk about Engines of Via real quick. Engines of Via showed a lot of success when the series took off. I came to find out the series was recommended to groups and people alike. I am very thankful for all of you watching this right now. Thanks to all of you and the success of Engines of Via, this channel has grown by almost 300 subscribers in 3 months. I am hoping that the series lives up to Engines of Via and Engines of Amtrak series. I want you guys to pause the video here and comment what your favorite episode of Engines of Via was. If you haven't actually seen Engines of Via yet, I highly recommend you also go and watch it. Now that I've got all of that sappy stuff out of the way, let's focus on the new series, Engines of Go Transit. So, much like episode 1 of Engines of Via, I will be explaining the history of Go Transit. But before I do that, I will briefly touch on the 2 other series that I will be doing. I think that I will only stick to a schedule on this series, as it will be the main series out of the other 2 I will be doing. One of the series that I have decided that I will do is Engines of the Santa Fe. A lot of people told me that they wanted me to do it, and I am more than happy to say your wish has come true. Okay, now with all of that out of the way, let's actually talk about today's video, shall we? So, as you could probably tell from the title, we will be covering the Go Transit F40PH. But before we get into that, I need to explain what Go Transit is. Go Transit stands for Government of Ontario Transit. They were formed back in 1967 due to the GTHA, or the Greater Toronto Hamilton Area, expanding rapidly in the 1950s. Commuter service in the GTHA before 1967 was very poor, with Canadian National operating it. Go Transit saw great success in their first 2 years of operation. By the 1980s, Go Transit had 7 lines. Go still operates the same 7 lines they did back in the 70s and 80s. Now with Go's history out of the way, let's actually start talking about today's real topic, the Go Transit F40PH. Now, I do want to put this in as kind of a disclaimer. I have already covered the base F40PH back in episode 5 of Engines of Via. Since Go Transit ordered the base F40PH, it will be almost, if not identical specs to that video. Anyway, let's talk about the F40PH, shall we? The EMD, the Electromotive Division, F40PH was built between 1975 and 1992. Amtrak approached the EMD for a solution to their failing SDP-40F fleet. So EMD presented Amtrak with a great new locomotive called the F40PH. At Amtrak's height, they rostered almost up to 230 of the locomotives at one time. The locomotive is said to be the one that saved passenger service as a whole. Amtrak used the F40PH up until the early 2000s when they were retired from the Amtrak roster. The F40PH was actually based off the successful freight locomotive, the GP40-2. Using the same prime mover just with a cowl-width body. If you don't know what a cowl-width body is, a good locomotive to use as an example is actually the -8-40CM. Okay, now with the history of the locomotive out of the way, let's move on to the specs, shall we? The locomotive had an EMD 645E 16-cylinder prime mover rated at 3,000 horsepower. They had a top speed of 177 kilometers an hour and weighed in at almost 260,000 pounds. Go Transit only ordered 6 F40PHs. All 6 were ordered in 1978. The fleet may be the shortest time any railroad had ever operated an F40PH. The Go Transit F40PH fleet was retired in 1988 after being in service for a short 10 years. They stayed on Go property until 1990 when they were sold to Amtrak and renumbered from 510 to 515 to 410 to 415. A small few of them were sold to other small commuter railways across Canada and the US. Anyways guys, I hope that you all enjoyed this first episode of Engines of Go Transit.
Sorry that the episode took so long to come out. I've actually been very busy lately, and I think I'm going to push back Engines of Santa Fe to February along with the surprise series. I also won't be releasing episode 2 until February. However, I did promise you that you would see the first episode of Engines of Go Transit in January, so here you guys go. But this also means now you can suggest what engine I should do in episode 2 of Engines of Go Transit. I will probably reply to your comment if you guys, or if I like the idea that you guys have, so yeah. Anyway, everyone, this has been the first episode of Engines of Go Transit, and I will see you guys in episode 2. Bye-bye.